Okay, continuing our discussion of Office features, we'll go to that iDrive, into Spanier, into keyboarding, and into the Office features file. And today we're going to take a look at a couple things. First is help. So let's say you're working by yourself and there's nobody around and you can't figure out how to do something. There is this handy dandy little question mark, and there are multiple ways to search for things. Let's say you can't figure out how to change margins. So you can just type in margins doing a keyword search, hit the enter key, and oh, here it is, change page margins, and you click on that and it helps you with that. There is, oops, I didn't mean to do that. The table of contents is another way to browse for something. You can look in the table of contents, and if you happen to know where, a part that it may fall under, you can take a look in there as well. And I was looking for the index, but I don't see the index. Okay, well, we'll move on then. Another thing that is useful to know about is page layout. So the page layout tab across the top here, and that is, oh, here's the margins. How to change the margins is one. Standard, fairly typically normal, is 1 by 1 by 1. The top, left, bottom, and right. You can make them narrow, or you can set custom margins as well and just type in what you want your margins to be. Orientation is another useful feature. If we click on the preview, you can see the orientation here of what that looks like. Oops, and I went to the wrong file. I am just having a little bit of a mess up on this one. Let me go back. There we go. And if you go to orientation and change it from what's called portrait, kind of up and down, to landscape, side to side, and then we do a preview, you can see it switched it so it's longer on the side. So that is the page layout tab, taking a look at margins and orientation. And then the review tab is another handy tab to use. We have there the thesaurus. So if you are trying to find another word for the word expected, maybe you've used it 5 times in a paragraph and that's too many times that you have used it, you can click on this little book called the thesaurus, and it will come up with different suggestions for you on, here are some other words that you can use that mean the same thing. And they'll have different categories, if it's a verb or if it's a noun. So depending on how you use, here's an adjective, depending on how you're using that. So that is a very handy little tool as well. And then the word count, if you click on the word count, it will tell you how many words, how many characters, how many paragraphs. So if your teacher is asking you to type out, 1,000 words or something, you can then very quickly do a count to see how many words are there. So that was this word count button here. The last tab we'll look at today is the Home tab, and I think most of this you probably know, and that is working with the formatting. You can change the font style, the font size, the font color, so if you would like a different color for something. If you want something highlighted, you can highlight. A lot of them are right in here. You can also click on this little arrow in the corner, and a menu will pop up, and here you can see all the different choices. You can get into advanced features, so there's quite a bit more on that. Something known as superscript and subscript. If you superscript something, it will, oops, I don't have anything highlighted. If you want to do, 10 to the 4th or something like that, you can raise it, or if you're writing, 5th and you want the TH to be superscripted, that's how you would do that. If you want to do strike through, you are editing something and you want to have the word remain but show that you're making a change and crossing it out. There's under the paragraph, if you highlight some sentences, you can change the line spacing and make it double spaced very easily. You can make things centered by clicking on the centered button. Things are left aligned. There you see, or right aligned and left aligned, excuse me, and the default being left. And then there's something called justify. And when you justify something, I don't know if it will work here. This may not be wide enough. But what it does is it typically will stretch out across, like in a newspaper. When you're reading a newspaper column and you see that the left margin and the right margin are equal, that's called justify. And I don't think I have a long enough sentence here that'll, oh, there it did it. See, the Woodrow Wilson, it's all to the left and to the right margin. So it justified that. Let's see if we try this, if it'll do it for us. There, now you can see that the right side is justified as well. Bullet and numbers. If you want to bullet something, you can highlight it and then choose the style of bullet, and it will add bullets to it. I'm going to undo that. You can also add numbering. So if you want to automatically number something, you can do numbering, and you can turn that on or off, say none. And same with the bullet. You can choose some or none in the style of the bullet and so on. And borders, shading. So if you want to shade in a color of an area, you can highlight it, and if you want to have different words be shaded, you can shade certain words. If you want to have words have a border on them, you can choose to border around words, so if you want to draw emphasis in that way. And I think that was all of them. Let me double check the list here. We've got formatting, bold, italicize. We didn't do italicize. There's italicize, B for the bold, U for the underline. So make sure we're getting through everything. Superscript, colors, paragraph, bullets, numbering, text align, line spacing, shading, find and replace. Oh, we didn't do find and replace. That's a handy thing. Is let's say you have the name Harry in your story, and you decide, you know what, I don't like the name Harry, I want to change that name, and you have a 30-page story that you've written with the name Harry in it. Well, you can choose find. Oops, I wanted the replace, I'm sorry. And you can find Harry, and then if you type in, let's say you want the guy's name to be Tom. So you type in Tom and you say replace all. Any time in the story that there is the word Harry, it will replace it with the word Tom. So that's kind of a cool thing if you want to do a bunch of changes of the same word over and over again. And the find works as I think you figured out, to find a particular word in a document. You can use the find, and the replace works to replace it. So a lot of information there. Give these different features a try in that shared Word file. Thanks.